What is happening, guys, and welcome to today's video. Now, in today's video it's going to be a little bit different. I'm doing a top 5 video on something that I've not really spoke a lot about on the channel, and that is books. Just so that my channel doesn't get as stagnant with videos as it has been doing the past few months. So let's jump straight into it and go to the first book. I've got my notes up here, by the way. The books in this top 5 are books that I own, not that I haven't read more than these top 5 books, but I've just decided to make it books that I have on my shelf currently, and I'm not going to include books in the same series. I'm going to use maybe the first book of a series and talk about a series as a whole. So number 5 on the list is Assassin's Creed Underworld. Now, this isn't a standalone book. There is a group of Assassin's Creed books written by the same author, Oliver Bowden. They're not actually classed as a series. They are standalone books, each to their own, that stand alongside the Assassin's Creed games. It's not a standalone in the sense that it's a different story. It's that it kind of talks about the character Henry Green in Assassin's Creed Syndicate, who is the leader of the assassins in London, who is the mentor for Evie and Jacob. This book focuses heavily on the story of how Henry became an assassin and how he became the leader of the assassins. It focuses on his association with Ethan Fry, who is Evie and Jacob's father, and also the lead up to Crawford Starrick's rise to power. I found that it was very well written in the sense that it stuck heavily to the Assassin's Code, and it really kind of, you could visualize it because you've played the games. You could visualize the action scenes and everything like that. It was really, really good. It kept me gripped throughout, and I think I finished this in like a week or two, which is pretty good for me considering that I'm really, really slow at reading books. There's a lot of action. The description of London and the atmosphere in which it's set is very, very good. If you are an Assassin's Creed fan, I would definitely recommend that you pick up one of the Assassin's Creed books. Number 4 on the list is a series of books that I picked up about 2 or 3 years ago, and since then have fallen in love with the universe in which it's written, and those are the Michael Grant series of Gone. Now, there's 6 books in this series, and I don't have the first one because I borrowed it to a friend, but this is the second book, Hunger, and the thing that drew me most to this book was that inside it said it's the sci-fi series for the Xbox generation, and that took me by surprise. I was like, right, this is a book for gamers. So each book in the series has like a different colour to go with it. I'm gonna go and grab the other books because they're right over there just to show you. So these are actually all the different colours in the franchise, and I don't have the first one. The first one's yellow, so the yellow one would go on the top. So these are all the different colours, and at the side you see all the different names. Now, the last one's called Light, and it's a hardback edition that I have, which is really frustrating considering all the other ones that I have are paperbacks. So I'm kind of like, bitch, bring out a paperback for this one. I need it in my life. But I haven't actually read the whole series yet. I'm up to like book 4 or 5 out of 6. And I do remember that Michael Grant brought out a follow-up called Monster, which I'm thinking of picking up at some point once I've finished the series. So for those of you who want to know what the series is actually about, the series is set in Southern California in a fictional town called Perdido Beach. And one day, everyone over the age of 15 suddenly ups and disappears. And this unimpenetrable force, kind of like Stephen King Under the Dome style, surrounds the town and the areas around the town. I couldn't really tell you how far it stretches, but it just stretches that far. A lot of the inhabitants start getting like supernatural powers. Some of them can have like light beams out of their hands. Some of them get like telekinesis powers. Some of them end up like the Flash and they can run really fast. Some of them start mutating and getting extra limbs and stuff like that, and it's really, really weird. But I like that kind of weird because I'm a bit into that kind of sci-fi thing. The books follow the main protagonist of Sam Temple as he takes on the antagonist of Cain, Drake, and the Darkness, aka the Gaiaphage, which you learn about in the books anyway if you want to read them. Like, this book is very well written in the sense that it grips you constantly, and after every chapter you just want to read more. But one thing that I do have against the books is it flits between different characters, so you kind of need to really be focusing on what you're reading rather than just sitting down to just read a book. You really need to kind of take everything in so that you can understand the relationships between characters, character development, and how characters are feeling at any one time. I've laughed, I've cried, I have just downright nearly shat my pants at times at these books, and if you are very much into sci-fi, I would highly recommend these books. One thing that I really liked about Hunger especially was that in the back you got, where is it? I've lost it now. Right, there we go. You got a map of like the phase, which is what they call the under the dome-esque style area, and then Perdido Beach as a whole. So you can see exactly where characters are, how far away from each other they are in terms of where the enemies like Kane and Drake are, and where like your protagonists like Sam and his group of friends are. And it's really kind of cool to kind of visualize it a little bit better. But I really like just sitting down and visualising the area in myself. It's one of those series that I think would really make a good TV show or a really good movie. And in 2013, Michael Grant released a statement that Sony Pictures Television had got the rights to the Gone series, but as of yet we've seen nothing, and that's like 4 years ago. 4 years they've had the rights to this series and they've done nothing with it. Just fucking do it. People would love it. I feel like people like J.J. Abrams or something would really enjoy making it because it's kind of Super 8-esque style Stephen King. It's really, really good. And if you are really into kind of gritty action and mystery and thriller stuff and sci-fi, it's definitely something that you should pick up. So number 3 on this list is The Hunger Games. Now this is the trilogy. We all know the story of The Hunger Games. It follows Katniss Everdeen as she volunteers as tribute for her little sister to go into the Hunger Games, which is where a boy and a girl from each of the 12 districts in this dystopian setting kind of go into this area and they fight to the death. And there is always one winner, and that is the guy or gal that kind of survives, I guess. After watching the films, I have come to the conclusion that the books are far better. I felt the books brought a whole other dimension of depth to the characters. Don't get me wrong, I really liked how they were portrayed in the film, but I feel like in the book I visualised them completely differently. I cried a lot more at the book than I did at the film. That's all I'm going to say. Number 2 on this top 5 video, which is probably very, very long, is the Harry Potter series. Now look how worn this book is, guys. That is like first edition old school Harry Potter book right there. I remember getting this when I was about 7 or 8, I think it was. It sparked my love for reading completely. Like, my granddad used to read to me quite a lot when I was a kid, and I used to read books a lot, but it was really Harry Potter that got me into reading a lot more, and kind of the settings of books and stuff like that, and the magic of books. Pardon the pun. But we all know the story of Harry Potter. If you don't know what Harry Potter is, then get the fuck off this channel, because you're obviously not worth my time or my life. Savage! I love how J.K. Rowling was able to kind of bring you into her universe and her mind and, you know, the wizarding world of Harry Potter. I'm so happy that I read these books before I watched the films, because I feel like if you watch the film first, you can it kind of stunts your imagination and how you visualize the scenes and the books and the characters. So I liked reading the books before watching the films, and I think I read each book right before the release of the film. It was kind of like a ritual for me that I would read the book before the film, and I always find the books have a lot more detail in them, especially in the Order of the Phoenix. There's like chapters and chapters that they missed out in the film, and it created much more depth and how you kind of relate to the characters and how much you like them and stuff. And I feel like in the films it missed quite a lot of important aspects out of the books. The books are great. So number 1 on this list, you're probably wondering, Anna, what can top Harry Potter? But there is one author that I've absolutely fell in love with the past few years, and that is John Green, and this is number 1. You're probably thinking, Anna, why isn't it The Fault in Our Stars? Now, I don't want to upset people because everyone loves The Fault in Our Stars, and I love how he kind of drew on how people with illness can still not feel like they're ill. They can kind of look past that and look at the relationships and the companions that they have around them, and it brought an entirely new aspect of how I looked at how people deal with terminal illness and stuff like that. And it was beautifully written and beautifully done for the screen. And Paper Towns again was a very good one, but I found Looking for Alaska is by far my favourite out of the 3, and of all John Green's books, I have to say, like An Abundance of Catherines and Will Grayson. I feel like this is still one of his best. The thing I liked about this book was it had a different dynamic to it. Now, it was split into 2 halves, before and after. Now, the book follows the lives of Miles, I can't remember his second name, I just know that he's called Miles, and he's kind of tired with his life and how he doesn't really have many friends, so he decides to attend a boarding school to kind of finish his like high school life, and he gets an obsession with a girl called Alaska Young. The way John Green writes this, it makes you feel like they're lovers, but at the same time they're not, they're just friends. The dynamic between them is so beautiful and so well written that I just found myself falling in love with the characters in this book, and especially Alaska. I felt really sorry for her. She had such a sad life. A tragic event happens halfway through the book, which you've probably guessed. But after that, it deals with a different style of issue. That deals with grief and loss and stuff like that. Spoilers, sorry. I'm a bad person. But the way John Green writes it, he writes it with such a positive outlook. And none of his books made me feel depressed. They just made me feel good. And that's the true talent of John Green. He can write the saddest book, he can make you cry multiple times, but at the end of the book you always feel happy. That is the sign of a great author. I love it so much. Now I'm gonna need to reread this because y'all know that I love this book too much now. But definitely, if you're looking at a feel-good book that's not too long really, it's kind of shortish, but has a lot of mystery, humour, sadness, underlying messages with a lot of depth of characters and stuff like that, you're gonna love looking for Alaska. It's by far one of my favourite books of all time. And that is my top 5 books that are on my shelf. I hope you've enjoyed this different style of video that focuses on something other than games. I definitely enjoyed it myself, and I hope to make more in the future. The next video regarding books and stuff will be a book haul that I did recently. I bought 4 new books, and I'm really excited to share them with you guys because at some point I'm going to be trying to do a review of a book, which is going to be a little bit difficult because I'm really bad at reviewing things because I either love it or I hate it. There's no in between really. If you would like any more information on any of the books I've mentioned in today's video, just drop me a comment down below, or you can direct message me on Twitter. I will be very happy to message you back. If you have any recommendations for me for books that I could read, please leave a comment down below. I've had a couple of recommendations from friends like Catonic and Sin and Chaos, which I'm going to mention in my next video. I am always up for new reads, and I'm currently getting Glenn into books as well, so hopefully Glenn can come and do a couple of videos with me talking about books that he likes as well. If you guys would like that, please leave a thumbs up. If you guys enjoyed this video as well, please give it a thumbs up. Remember to always subscribe if you're new here. Hit the notification bell so you can be notified whenever I put a new video up or start streaming. Thank you guys, and I will see you in the next video.